Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We are taking a short break from our schedule previews today to talk about the Final Four. Guys, it has been an unbelievable March Madness so far. We have seen so many upsets left and right. We saw an unbelievable Cinderella story in St. Peter's, getting all the way to the Elite Eight, the first ever 15 seed to get to the Elite Eight. We saw 3 of the 4 number 1 seeds go down before the Elite Eight even began. North Carolina defeating Baylor, Arkansas defeating Gonzaga, and Houston defeating Arizona. And now we are here in the Final Four, where we have 3 teams that many expected could get there, and then one that is a big kind of shock, maybe a mini Cinderella story of their own. But we're here to talk about Villanova-Kansas, North Carolina, and Duke. Which of these teams will emerge victorious on Saturday? Who will be playing for the national championship on Monday? And today we're going to share our official pick for the national championship on Monday as well. But before we dive into all that analysis for these games, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Yes, we primarily focus on college football and NFL here on the channel, but occasionally like to sprinkle in a little college basketball, maybe a little bit of NBA, and that's exactly what we're doing today. So if you just love sports content all the way around, football primarily, but sports in general, make sure to join our team today, guys. Just hit that subscribe button. Those things that take you just a few seconds, just clicking a button, leaving a comment, whatever it is, a few seconds for you helps us out tremendously, more than you guys know. So help us out and help our channel grow so we can continue to bring you this content year-round, 24/7, 365, all sports, all the time, right here at the Gridiron Expert. So let's go ahead and dive into the Final Four matchups. We'll go as quick as we can. We're going to start with the one that I think for most people isn't as big a deal. The Final Four is a huge deal, but we all know that all eyes are going to be on the big primetime game between North Carolina and Duke, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But first, we've got to talk about the game between Villanova and Kansas, which could be just as good as that UNC-Duke game. The Wildcats come in as a 2 seed, Kansas the lone 1 seed remaining. That's what we mentioned a second ago. And this is a rematch of a 2018 Final Four matchup. So back in 2018, Villanova and Kansas faced off against each other. The Wildcats ultimately won that game 95-79 and then ultimately won the national championship a few days later. I don't see this being a blowout this time for either team. I don't see Villanova blowing out the Jayhawks, and I certainly don't see the Jayhawks blowing out Villanova. These teams are too good. They've got too much size and too much talent. And when you start with Villanova, first off, they're tremendously well coached. Jay Wright is an unbelievable coach and has done an unbelievable job with the Wildcats this season. And the Wildcats have 4 players that have scored in double digits on average on the year. 4 players scoring in the double-digit figures, led by their guard and Colin Gillespie. 15.6 points per game, one of the best players in the country. So if he gets hot, and if Kansas struggles to shut him down, Villanova is going to be in a very, very good position to go out and win this game. Because the Wildcats take very, very good care of the basketball. They share the ball extremely well, very well when it comes to assists, and they play great defense. And to me, that's the thing that I think Jay Wright is preaching the most, and the reason that Villanova is in this Final Four right now. The Wildcats allow an average of 55 points per game. That's it. And the most points they've allowed in the NCAA tournament so far, 61 points to Ohio State. If you are keeping your opponents to under 65 points, give or take, you're looking really good because more than likely you're going to be able to score well above that. And Villanova has, for the most part. So 55 points per game on average defensively. Villanova, if they keep playing defense like that, they're going to be just fine. But we do know they face a very difficult test in Kansas, a team that is loaded with talent, but is loaded with one of the best players in the country in Ochai Agbaji. Averages 18.9 points per game. Had 18 points against Miami. That was his best performance in the tournament so far. But they also have a guy named Christian Braun, who's averaging 14.3 points per game and is shooting nearly 50% from the field, 49.7% field goal percentage. Kansas is big. They've got a lot of size. Tremendous size for this Kansas team, and they're also holding their opponents to under 60 points per game defensively. One stat that I looked at that I thought was very interesting was the fact that Kansas, in this NCAA tournament, they have won 2 of their 4 tournament games by at least 25 points. And that is more than the rest of the Final Four teams combined. Kansas is lighting up the field. Yes, I know they faced a 16 seed. Yes, I know they had to face a 10 seed in the Elite Eight in Miami and beat them by 26. Doesn't matter who you're beating in the tournament. A win is a win, and when you're winning like that, it's very, very impressive. So we kind of this pick, guys, who are we going to take in this first Final Four matchup? For me, I've got to go with Kansas. I genuinely have to go with Kansas for a bunch of different reasons. I love this matchup. I think Villanova and Kansas stack up well against each other, especially when it comes to coaching between Bill Self and Jay Wright. But from a size advantage, I like Kansas. A little bit of revenge on Kansas' mind, obviously trying to avenge their loss from 2018. The Jayhawks also feel that they were kind of robbed of a national championship in 2020 when the entire tournament was shut down due to COVID. Many believe, including Bill Self, that they were the best team in the country at that point and probably would have won the Natty had the whole tournament not been canceled. Kansas is looking to avenge that opportunity and go out and win a national championship. So I think Kansas does take down Villanova in the first Final Four matchup. They finally get over the hump and get back to the first national championship since 2012, where they fell to Kentucky. Now we take a look at the big one. The big game that everybody's been wanting to talk about and everybody's looking forward to. 8th-seeded North Carolina taking on the number 2 seed in Duke. You could not have written this story any better. I mean, look at every aspect of it. The best rivalry in college basketball. The best rivalry in college basketball for a trip to the national championship in Coach K's last season. Arguably the best coach of all time. If you don't think he is, he's certainly up there as maybe the top 2, him and John Wooden. All of those things, and you've got that in a Final Four matchup. You can't beat it. You could not have scripted it or written it any better. Now, lots at stake here, obviously. Not just a trip to the national championship, but look at what's happened in the past. North Carolina spoiled Coach K's last home game at Duke back at the beginning of March. North Carolina beat Duke on their home court to end Coach K's career at Cameron. Obviously, not the career as a whole. So, obviously, Duke has a little revenge on their mind, too. They're looking to avenge that loss on their home court. This game certainly much bigger than that one, but certainly left a sour taste in Duke's mouth going into the tournament. Duke, guys, they've been extremely hot. I think everybody had doubts about Duke going into the tournament. They had lost to North Carolina in the season finale. They lost to Virginia Tech in the ACC championship game. So everybody said, okay, yeah, they're a 2 seed, but they're not going to get this far. But they have peaked at the right time. They beat teams like Michigan State, Texas Tech, and Arkansas, beat all of them to get to this Final Four, and they're doing it again with tremendous size and finally a team that's heating up from the field. You have 5 players that are in the double-digit range right now, led by Paolo Banchero, 17.1 points per game. You've got a guy in Wendell Moore Jr., who's averaging 13.5 points per game and shooting over 50% from the field. And if you go back and look at that game against Arkansas, Duke was so dominant, not just defensively and not just on the boards, but also in the paint. From a size advantage, scoring inside is huge for Duke, and I think that's really how they've dominated the majority of this tournament. How they've gotten past the Spartans, the Red Raiders, and the Razorbacks. They were able to dominate inside. They're not the best shooting team from the perimeter, but inside the arc, they have been doing a lot of their damage, and I have a feeling they can do it again against North Carolina. Now, give credit to the Tar Heels, guys. Hubert Davis has done a phenomenal job. First year with a brand new head coach. Roy Williams retires. In comes Hubert Davis. I don't think anybody expected North Carolina to get to the Final Four, and yet here they are facing off against their biggest rival for a spot in that national championship. They got in as an 8 seed, but many said, hey, they're an 8 seed, but they could probably get to the Sweet 16. I know Joe Lunardi said that. They crushed Marquette by 32. They upset the number 1 seed Baylor in overtime. Then they took down a good UCLA team and then ended St. Peter's Cinderella run, defeating the Peacocks by 20 in the Elite 8. This Tar Heels team, guys, they can score. They can score fast and they can score a lot. Dropped over 90 points in their first 2 games against Marquette and Baylor. 3 players are averaging over 15 points per game. You've got Armando Bacot, 6'10", by the way. You've got Caleb Love, and you've got Brady Manek, the transfer in from Oklahoma, sitting at 6'9". Bacot and Manek match up very well with Duke's bigs, and we've seen that. We know that Duke beat North Carolina by 20 in their first meeting, but North Carolina came right back and beat them in Cameron in the last meeting. They can match up with Duke and their size. And if North Carolina gets hot from the field, they will win this game against Duke. No doubt about it. Because that's what we're coming down to with this pick, ultimately. Who's going to get hot from the field? Which team defensively can try to limit those good open shots? In that last matchup, guys, at Cameron Indoor, when Duke lost to North Carolina, their defense was abysmal. Duke could not play defense. North Carolina shot 59% in the second half. Coach K said it himself. He's like, our defense was horrible. I thought we played relatively well except for our defense. Well, Duke has been playing phenomenal defense in this tournament. They limited Arkansas to under 70 points per game. Texas Tech had what, like 75? Michigan State at 76. That's it. They're not allowing a lot of points, and they're not allowing their opponents to get many good looks. And I think Duke's defense remains strong going into this Final Four with everything that's going on coming into this game. Playing your rival in the Final Four. Every game you not knowing could be Coach K's last. I believe the defense comes to play for the Blue Devils. They're able to shut down North Carolina, and Duke will advance to the national championship. Which means, guys, that we are predicting a Duke-Kansas national championship. A 1 seed and a 2 seed in the national championship on Monday. Two blue bloods going at it. Regardless of the outcome, it will be Coach Mike Krzyzewski's last game at Duke. So much is going to be on this game, and it's going to be, I think, one of the better national championships we had in recent memory. I genuinely believe that. But the thing is, guys, how can you pick against Duke? If this is the ultimate matchup, if it's Duke versus Kansas, how can you pick against the Blue Devils? Size-wise, I think both these teams match up great. I think Kansas has the size to match up with Duke and vice versa. But I don't see Duke dropping this game. And I think as long as Duke is able to go out and shut down Agbaji, they've got this game in the bag. I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe that they can shut him down. One of the best players in the country. Easier said than done. They do that. Duke wins the national championship. And that's exactly what we're going to pick. From the emotion standpoint of knowing this is Coach K's last game, trying to get him to ride out into the sunset with a national championship, I don't see the Blue Devils dropping this natty if they can get past North Carolina. And I'm going to go out there and say right now, I think they're going to have a harder time getting past North Carolina than I do against Kansas. Still going to be an instant classic, but I like their odds against Kansas more than I do against North Carolina. But Duke, regardless, is our pick to win the 2022 national championship. The Blue Devils will clinch their 6th national title, all of them coming under Coach K. Their first national championship since 2015, and Coach K will ride off into the sunset in a season and in a year that you could not have written any better. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. We will be back with our college football content tomorrow, resuming our schedule previews for every single top 25 team. And then, of course, we're going to get into our next topic after that. So stay tuned. If you like this content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to hit that notification button so you don't miss any more of our videos. Become a part, guys, of our Gridiron Expert team today. Please do that. Become a part of our team. Help our channel continue to grow so we can continue to talk sports with you year-round, round the clock, all the time. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.